So I've learned a lot in the last 4 years, and I learned a lot in the last year especially, and every year was very, very different. It never got easier. I can't say it got any easier. We learned how to deal with the day-to-day routines a little better. You gain a lot more responsibilities, and kind of your problems become different and bigger in certain ways because you're doing more business, you're more experienced, you may be buying and selling more depending on what your business is. It never truly gets any easier, but those are just the things that are part of the cost of doing business. So this video is highlighting those 4 years in a very summarized way. I'm going to save the best and last point for last. I just think that I want to leave you guys with that one. So stay tuned till the end of the video, because that's kind of the highlight that I really want to emphasize in this video in general. Guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for popping back in, or welcome to my channel for the first time. If you don't know, I've owned a grocery store for about 4 years now, and I wanted to give you 6 lessons today on what it takes, or what I've learned with being an entrepreneur for the past 4 years. So on this channel, I provide the inside scoop to my knowledge on owning, growing, and starting a small business. So, like I always say, if at any time in this video you find this video had some value, please hit the like button down below. It really helps this channel grow and support this small business as much as possible. Thank you, and let's get into this video. Try to really bring up the energy for this one. So, lesson number 1 that I learned while working in my grocery store for the past 4 years is you need self-motivation. If you can't motivate yourself to work, you are never going to succeed as an entrepreneur. It's really that simple. When you're working under a boss, it's always you need to do this, and this to make them happy. You know, you get your paycheck, you get your salary. When you're an entrepreneur, there's no one telling you what to do. You know that you need to do things, but it's up to you to actually do them. It's like going to the gym. You know you need to do that. Whether you end up doing it or not is a whole different story, because truthfully, it's not mandatory. So you need to be able to find the self-motivation to do the things you need to do. It's almost self-explanatory, but if you can't find your own self-motivation without relying on videos or people or something to motivate you to do something, you are not built to be an entrepreneur. Let me tell you guys something. Every single morning I wake up and it crosses my mind, why not just take the day off today? Why not just have the store shut down today for one day, put on Instagram, close for maintenance, everyone's gonna be fine, the day will go by and we'll start again tomorrow. But I know that once I start doing that, it will become a habit that I will rely on doing at least once or twice a month. And what happens after once or twice a month? Customers start getting upset. Why are you randomly closed? I depended on you to check you out this day and you weren't open. I drove from this far away to come to your store and you weren't open, and your Google hours are posted that you're opened. I cannot give in to that temptation. I need to find that self-motivation every single day to make sure the store is open on time and closed at the exact time the Google hours posted. It's just very easy to get into bad habits when you're an entrepreneur. You can end up sitting looking at Facebook for 20-30 minutes, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, I didn't get any of the stuff done I planned to do. So there's no boss telling you to do the things you need to do, but no one's coming to do them for you, and there's no one else to blame but yourself if things go wrong. Everything is on your shoulders because this is your business. You're the boss, there's no one to blame. Lesson number 2 is the business, as being an entrepreneur, is always on your mind. 24/7, your business will be just flowing through. Did I do this? Did I finish that? I should have done this. I didn't do enough here. That never goes away. And I don't think it will ever go away, no matter how successful the business becomes, no matter how many years we're in business, no matter how many employees or partners, the business is on your mind 24/7. It's not like a job where you can punch in and out and, forget about it until the next day. I mean, I know there's certain jobs that, people take home with them and the problems that come with it. But being your own boss, there's only one of you and everything was depending on you. So it's constantly on your mind, much, much more than having a job. Whether you can manage that and get through that is just part of being an entrepreneur. You can ask, many of the successful entrepreneurs that we know today, and they'll tell you it never shuts off. You constantly wake up, business, go to bed, business. It's just one of those things that you're gonna have to accept, and it's not 100% bad. You can spend some of your time off actually coming up with great ideas for your business and using them the next day. So these are things that are sometimes positives as well when the business is always on your mind. You just have to be able to kind of learn to tune it out. You can never shut it off, but you can kind of tune it out by doing other things you enjoy. So another one that I don't think is going to be going away, and very related to step number 2, is lesson number 3, which is the fear of failure never goes away. You will always be running from failure. You will always be doubting decisions that you make. And no matter how many years I think I'm in this business or as an entrepreneur, I will always have that fear of failure. No matter how successful I get, there will always be that doubt, that thing in your mind that you have done something wrong, that the business isn't going to succeed in the next year, even maybe month. So just know that the fear of failure never truly goes away. And to give you a personal example, even when we have one off day at the store, or even, 3-4 hours goes by and it's very oddly quiet, or the store just has a dead day for some odd reason. It could be a successful month, great sales, great profit, but one day that's just very, very slow. I start instantly, saying, what did we do wrong? Did we post something that offended people, or are we being reviewed on a different site and people are not coming as much, or maybe this is the turning point for this business? Even that one day will put doubts in your mind that something is going wrong, or what happened to my business? Things were so good last week and now this week the numbers are looking lower. That is always going to be a thing that you kind of have to manage and try to look at the long term. I know one day is just one day, but it's very hard to break out of that shell that there's this doomsday is coming if one day goes wrong. Lesson number 4 would be you need to put your ego aside. And I learned this because there is people that I simply don't want to work with, that I have no choice to work with because it's beneficial for my business. And you always say, when you're your own boss, you should be able to work with whoever you want. Now, there's customers that I don't want to deal with, but they are returning customers that we do not turn away. So those are people that I have to put my ego aside, just smile, say hello, even though they can be some of the biggest assholes in the world. I still have to figure out a way to keep them coming back and being part of our business. We have some boundaries that they can't cross that I know, but we have to put our ego aside and make sure we're not getting into a battle with customers, vendors that I personally, wouldn't want to support because they've done things to us that I, don't really agree with, but if their products sell, I still have to work with them. So putting your ego aside comes with, dealing with customers you don't want to work with, dealing with vendors you don't want to work with, maybe business partners that you don't truly get along with, but they're still good for the business. This is even with employees sometimes. They may be, certain people that you don't really think you'd ever like outside of work, but if they're doing their job right and, they're not causing any issues in the store, your personal ego has to be put aside for the benefit of the business. So make sure you can separate your personal opinions on vendors, customers, and employees for the greater good of your business, because there's no walking away from this. This is your business. No one's taking it over. It's not going away. Work with what works for your business. Your bank account doesn't know the difference if you got mad at a customer. Your bank account doesn't know the difference if a vendor said something a little bit sly to you that you didn't like, and your vendor doesn't, your bank account doesn't know if your employee outshined you on something and now you're personally offended and your ego's hurt. Just keep that all in check and your business should succeed, as long as everything else is in place. Lesson number 5 would be save, save, and save. If you can follow every dollar that comes in and out of your business and actually build a kind of cushion in your bank account where you have a safety net in case you have a slow day or a slow week, and you always will have that fear of failure or that self-doubt that comes with my last point that I mentioned. But really kind of having that amount in your bank account is just a little bit easier to pay your vendors without worry, your employees without worrying, or even yourself without worrying or feeling guilty that you're taking too much from the business. Because you are working in this business 40, 50, 60 hours a week. You need to be able to pay yourself, and that's where saving a certain amount of money and a cushion comes in handy, because it's just a little easier to end up getting by every single day with a kind of confidence that the day will go on no matter how busy or slow it is. And the last lesson I hope you guys really take from this video is it's only a true failure if you quit. If you never give up and your first business fails or your second business fails and you have a third business that is a success, you're always an entrepreneur. You're only quitting and failing when you completely give up and say, I can't be in a business, I can't run a business. And there may be gaps where you have to go back to being an employee or working a 9-to-5 job, and then you can start on something else that is completely different than what you thought you were going to be doing. So that's one thing that I'm really kind of grasping now, that it's only a true failure when you completely give up on yourself and never start again. So knowing that you have to shut down a business or close a business because it's just not working for you is another skill set in itself. And just because you scratch one idea completely doesn't mean you're not an entrepreneur, doesn't mean you're not a business owner, doesn't mean you're any less than someone who's successful. Because comparing yourself to those people who are successful, you may not realize that they've actually failed many more times than you ever have. Most entrepreneurs have failed and started many times over until they finally found that one business that works long term. So the only time you really should consider quitting is when something isn't working, but it doesn't mean you can't start something completely different or something even much better than you've ever dreamed of. That's what I'm going to leave this video at, guys. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you found some value and some knowledge in this one. Have a good night, and I hope you guys can provide your lessons one day when you start your own business.